All right, good morning, everyone. It is 9:01. We've got 45 degrees and sunshine. And Roger Hill is saying if you got projects this week that involve being outdoors, you're going to be in luck. It is going to be just stellar here, especially for the first half of the week. Later part of the week, it is going to be downright hot. We're going to be apparently well into the 80s. We'll push 70 today, upper 60s, I think, for most of us. Some frost, though, in some areas in the hollows this morning, especially up in the kingdom, which is no surprise. No surprise. I think many of us are just so anxious to get the garden going. My gosh, I mean, and I'm one of them, Cody. I mean, that's like got to get some rototillin going and get these seeds going and get everything in the ground.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a late start to summer this year.
Yeah,
I think by this point we were in full blown summer mode.
Yeah.
Whereas April was a little chilly this year.
It was. It was a chilly start.
You know, I'm okay with it. It's still it's still my favorite month. That won't change anytime soon.
You know, I was telling somebody about that the other day. I'm like, April is Cody's favorite month, and they were like, "What the hell is he thinking? It's mud season. There's rain, a lot of rain. Why would that be Cody's favorite month?" Maybe it was Sherilyn. I don't know. Somebody was telling me Cody's favorite month is April.
6 straight months of weather that gets better every day. How can you not get excited about that?
So this is more like a hope thing. There's hope. There's promise of a new beginning.
Do you like Saturday mornings or Sunday or we're Monday? Do you like Mondays or Saturdays more, JD? As a general rule,
I'd be.
Are you a Saturday guy?
As long as
because you got the weekend, right?
Yeah, as long as
Same
there's
idea.
breakfast. You got to start with a good breakfast.
Well, you got to eat a well balanced meal every day, JD. That doesn't.
I don't do that.
I mean, you should.
But Saturdays are exciting. Yes, that's how you feel.
Same idea with April. It's kind of like the weekend of the year, the beginning of the weekend of the year, in my opinion.
Wow. Listen, we have a lot of news going on in Vermont today. We're going to post up as many stories as we can. We know there was a plane crash in Clarendon. I think everybody is okay. Small Cessna that I think was an older plane that went down without the landing gear. We have a new canine unit coming to the Montpelier Police Department to tell you about. We have a car chase and a shooting that took place in Swanton, among other towns, over the weekend. Car chase and a shooting. So we'll have that for you as well. This past weekend, Cody, Green Up Day on Saturday, Mother's Day yesterday. The weather could not possibly have been any better. I saw so many people out greening up on Saturday. I couldn't believe it.
That's not even the most wild part of the weekend. You know what I saw this weekend?
What's that?
I saw a unicorn.
Seriously,
like a real live unicorn
in the woods. Was it in the woods?
No, not in the woods. Right downtown here. Literally, actually, there's like 3 or 4 unicorns.
Stop it. Stop making.
I think
there
was a banana down there. It was pretty wild. Something called blow up to glow up.
Oh my god. A real life unicorn. Is that what? Listen, whoever does that, they do such a great job, and I'm so glad that they do that. They get. It's like a club. It's a group of people. They all get together. They did it last year.
Do you know who does that, JD?
Michael Booten's.
Yeah, Michael Booten plays a big hand in that.
Is it Michael Booten's sister? I don't know. He's right in here.
I know. We should both know the answer to this.
We should. Shame on us.
But it's a great thing that's done every year.
Alicia.
It's such a cool. Like I just remember last year driving down.
Yeah.
We're going to the hardware store or something, and all of a sudden I just see all these costumes out.
Right.
There's like a half a dozen bananas on the Aldrich Public Library lawn.
Yes.
And I'm just, I think I took a picture, I sent it to Tracy and said, "What did you do?
What the heck is going on here?"
Tracy Lewis, the Barre Partnership. I'm like, are you Are you guys behind this?
Not joking here. Last year I went to the front lawn of the Aldrich Library, and they gave me a banana suit. I have a banana suit.
You do?
I am. Yes, I'm now officially in my 50s, and I own a banana suit.
Better late than never. Better late than never. Yeah. So in October, I better see you wearing that on air on Halloween.
I will. There is no question that I will be at some point wearing that on the air, and I'll be sober. But you know what was wonderful is that they do this just for the sake of bringing joy and happiness and laughter, and they get people honking their horns. They got the bullhorn out there. I mean, you can hear them and see them from probably outer space. It was just wonderful.
Makes everyone happy, and makes people laugh.
You know,
so it's a good thing.
You know what they are. And I said to Sherilyn, she's like, "What's going on with the big protest in Barre?" And I said, yeah, "It is a huge protest. They're protesting happiness, joy."
No, they're protesting negativity by promoting happiness. Anyways,
that's deep.
It was a great event.
Yeah,
great thing to put a smile on people's faces.
I hope it's an annual thing.
On Saturday, well, this is the second annual, I believe. But on Saturday, you also had Green Up Day.
Yeah.
And you also had Rotary, and I joined. Carl Rinker got me to come out. Rotary was painting the big pavilion over at Rotary Park, over by the elementary school. So I was up in the ladder doing some painting, and
wow,
you had Tony Campos, you had Carl Rinker, you had half a dozen other Rotarians down there, Sherwin Williams, sprucing up the pavilion a little bit.
Amazing.
There was a birthday party going on there, so
that's great.
We tried to get it done before they were there.
And Spalding High School graduation, they had a coin drop right here on North Main Street, which was, they had perfect weather for that too. It looked like they had a great turnout, and of course. I was out delivering flowers for pretty much the whole day Saturday and yesterday, Sunday, for Emsley's for Mother's Day, and just so many flower deliveries. It was amazing, and just to see the faces on people when you ring that doorbell, and you're going to someone's house not to solicit anything, but to give love from someone else, but to present love, and just the looks on people's faces, amazing, absolutely amazing.
It's always a good day when you can put a smile on somebody's face.
It was a great weekend. I was tired, from doing all the running around, but it was a good tired.
Well, and the day before too, on Friday, you had a little bit of activity down over at the Common. You had one of your former guests here.
That's right.
Who's running for, was it Attorney General, I believe?
Yes,
the
Attorney
county
General.
attorney.
Rory Tebow.
Yep. So he's
running for Attorney General.
Yep. So there's a little gathering there, and at the same time, we took our work-based learning students, our interns from Spalding High School.
Yeah.
We took them for a little greening up action. So the three of us.
I saw the pictures on the Barre Area Development Facebook page. I think.
Yep. And we walked around with one of the green trash bags and a couple of the little picker-upper things. I'm sure there's a better word for that. But we ended up filling a trash bag and walked around Merchants Row. And
right. Now, I have a question, a rather serious question for you. What the hell's going on with you in the green glasses? Is that a Green Up Day thing?
Oh, the green sunglasses?
Yeah, put those on, bud, so we can see, so everyone can experience.
So these are actually, I got these at a car show last year, and they're from a tuning company that I've bought plenty of car parts from.
Can you put them on for us so we can see? Come on, man.
So, actually, if you want to see me wearing them, head over to the Barre Area Development Facebook page.
You're teasing us.
So, I'm weird when it comes to sunglasses. I'm never somebody that could, or I'm not a person that could ever have expensive sunglasses.
No.
No.
Me neither. Me neither.
So I have a black pair that look normal that I've been wearing. Haven't misplaced for the last probably year.
Okay.
But I just brought my car into the shop to have some warranty work done.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that I left them in there. So I look, where I keep all my other sunglasses, and these were the next ones in line. And for free swag,
yeah,
you usually expect them to be flimsy, just not great, but these are actually pretty awesome. So
it didn't matter to you that they were bright green. You just said, "I'm doing it. I'm getting these."
No, it doesn't matter.
I didn't know if this was like a Green Up Day stunt that you were doing.
Sure, yeah, they're my special Green Up Day sunglasses. That
right.
Say integrated engineering on them.
Okay,
and that I got at a Volkswagen show.
All right. I saw the pictures of you greening up, and I'm like, he's got the matching green up sunglasses. But all right, okay,
yeah.
That takes a real man, brother, to be wearing those in public out like that.
Well, I have blue eyes, too, and anyone with blue eyes can attest to this. The sun is a little brighter in the day,
yeah,
whereas you almost get like nocturnal vision at night. But with blue, people with blue eyes are more sensitive to sun. So I pretty much always wear sunglasses if there's even a little bit of light out.
There is no limit to how much money I would pay for a photograph of you with those green glasses in Michael Booton's Jeep driving. No limit.
Really?
I
no
pay
limit?
every dime I had. Every dime I had, which isn't much.
How many dimes do you have?
Let's. We have so many things to talk about, so many things to get to, but let's dive in and begin with this morning's news that I got from Sherilyn, that we've got a $1,300 heating oil delivery at $6 a gallon, 229 gallons, right around $1,300, and we're like, freaking out here. And as I said to her, I'm like, we're not the only ones that are freaking out. The truck drivers, the people that just own diesel vehicles, are paying. What is it now for a gallon?
$6.29 a gallon over at the gas station just up the road here this morning.
My
for diesel fuel. So diesel has particularly been hit hard recently. So it's now up to, I think, over $2.40 more per gallon than it was a year ago. And a lot of it has to do with logistics, supply chain shortages, and drivers getting products from A to B, but also war in Europe is a big factor in that. But I guess the East Coast right now is being particularly hit hard by diesel shortages. That's where the bulk of the nation's economic activity comes out of, is kind of the East Coast metropolis, coming from Boston down to D.C. and all the other major cities along the East Coast. But what's scary right now is diesel is the workhorse of the global economy.
Sure it is.
So trains run on diesel, trucks run on diesel, tractors run on diesel. So farm equipment. So the cost of food has been going up, as we've gone through the pandemic here, little by little. But now, let's say if you own a dairy farm and you need to go out and, if you need to, now that May is here, now that it's starting to get warm out, farms are going to start mowing hay.
Yeah.
Just to get those big marshmallows on the side of the road that people always see right next to farms.
Right.
That's the process that's going to start to begin. So they're going to take huge industrial mowers essentially and just drive laps and laps and laps around the big field until you can do no more laps. And all of that, those old John Deere tractors are run off diesel.
Yeah.
They're run off off-road diesel, the stuff that you can't put in your car legally because of the gas tax.
Everybody's going to be overcompensating for this.
So now it's not just the industrial farms, it's the local family farms that are having to pay a couple bucks more a gallon for off-road fuel to put into their tractors. So your milk, your eggs, your vegetables are going to go up more now. The cost to get those products from, if you're at a dairy farm, a milk truck has to come every couple of days to come and get your milk, depending on how much you produce and depending on who your purchaser is. All those 18-wheelers run on diesel, and they get maybe 5 miles, 6 miles a gallon. It's not much at all, but it's a probably 30,000 pound vehicle.
Yeah.
When it's loaded up, I'm sure I'm off on that mark, but point being, it's going to cost more to produce the food. It's going to cost more to ship the food, and that price is ultimately going to get passed on to the consumer. So it's far more wide-reaching than it would be just if you wanted to fill up your Duramax pickup truck or your little Volkswagen. Luckily I have a diesel, and it's in the shop right now getting some warranty work done. So thankfully, or I don't know if I'd say thankfully, but I don't have to put in a tank of diesel, hopefully for a little bit. And I did the math, and right now it would cost me over $150 to fill my tank.
And what kind of rig?
It's a Volkswagen Touareg, so it's an SUV.
Yeah.
But
great mileage.
Great mileage at $6.30 a gallon. I'd hope it would be. But now you're starting to see some of the diesel people start to take their cars, their little Subarus, their little Hondas, more.
I mean, it's like literally everything that you can see, touch, consume has gone up everywhere.
There's a pretty good chance that the majority of everything that you see in your home, your immediate surroundings, was delivered to you in some part by diesel fuel. Mm-hmm. I think of if a contractor were to build this building, they'd probably bring some tools and stuff over in like a Chevy Silverado 1500, gas truck. But anything big was probably brought over by diesel. So it's literally it's the backbone of the global economy. The only, the two big factors that I can think of immediately that could potentially relieve some pressure off of this, we're not really seeing any decrease in demand on the consumer side in the U.S. People are still buying stuff. So the need to get products from A to B domestically is still going to remain high, but China's COVID policy, they have a zero tolerance policy for COVID. So if you start to see more of those bigger manufacturing plants shut down over in China, you may see some decreased demand, maybe.
Right.
But probably the biggest factor is going to be the war in Europe.
Yeah. Dick Wabi was in here not long ago, and he was just breaking everything down for us, and basically saying that this is like a superstorm right now. All of this that's happening at the same time. Ukraine, the pandemic, which we are certainly not out of the woods, and there's many saying that we never really will ever be totally out of the woods with it. But, I mean, just everything that's all hitting us at the same time right now. And now we got the feds that are boosting. Yep. They're hiking up.
I mean, I've been saying for months the economy is basically a chicken with its head cut off that is all hopped up on espresso right now. It's just running it's running with a full head of steam into every wall that it can find and every object, and so you're going to continue to see just random parts of the economy just go haywire. Right now
you're giving some cartoonists some ideas this morning, buddy. Right there.
Well, if
I can see it.
If it helps, then I'm doing my job. If it helps the average person understand what's going, have a better understanding of what's going on in the world and in the economy. That's why we do this.
Inflation is what, 7% now, at least.
I saw something that said in March prices went up 6.6%, and so as you mentioned earlier, the Federal Reserve, our central bank here in the U.S. Just increased rates by 0.5%, which is the single largest rate hike in over 20 years. I think in 2000 was the last time that there's a rate hike that high. So the idea of it, the Federal Reserve controls the money supply in the U.S., and the Fed realizes that not everything that's wrong with the economy right now and with inflation is completely within their control. the Fed can't do anything about Putin in Ukraine.
Sure.
The Fed can't really do too much about supply chain issues and like driver shortages, things like that. But what the Fed can do is restrict the money supply and make it just a little more expensive to borrow.
To cool the economy down a little
so the
bit.
federal funds rate, that's essentially kind of what banks charge each other, what financial institutions charge for interest. And over the last decade, rates were kept low, pretty artificially low, for quite a while. And I think that has to do with coming out of the Great Recession. So for a long time, you were able to get a cheap mortgage rate.
Yeah.
As the economy was trying to recover from the subprime mortgage and housing crisis.
2008.
From 2008.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of paying the price for that again right now. So what this will impact most is if you go and get a car loan, it will make it a little more expensive to get a car loan. It'll make it a little more expensive to get a house, a credit card, other things like that. Mm-hmm. So the theory behind that is to slow down the housing market and to cool off the economy a little bit, and again create kind of a soft landing so that we don't go into full-blown recession.
Yeah.
Which, from the perspective of a young person,
we don't need the housing market to be cooled off.
Oh, it would be great if it was, because then people like me could buy a house.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
So
I was thinking of it a different way.
Think about it. If you wanted to buy a house in 2009, if you wanted to buy a house in Barre in 2019, what would you expect to pay? Like a little modest ranch.
Yeah.
What, 120 grand maybe?
I would think more like 150.
120, 150, and what would you be paying today? 170, 200.
Yeah.
And you would also have to go armed, go into a showing armed with a check, being ready to write a check with cash in hand.
Right.
And I'm hearing that realtors are telling their clients if a seller is asking 150, be ready to offer 170. Mm-hmm. That's how the market is going, and that's not sustainable for ever.
Yeah.
So one good part about this is that it will start to cool off the housing market a little bit and make properties more attainable for younger families.
Sure.
Because a lot of people in my age, my generation, we don't have 150 grand in cash just sitting there in the bank.
Right.
It's something that our generation probably won't have until we're nearing retirement age.
Sure.
Just with all the other economic cards that are kind of stacked against our generation.
Yeah.
So there's far more conventional financing that has to play into that.
Yeah.
So this will eventually slow down the housing market a little bit. The car market right now has been facing shortages. Dealerships getting new inventory in because of the chip shortage, and the used car market going through the roof.
Right.
That's thrown the price of cars just in directions that we weren't expecting even a year ago, let alone 2 years ago.
Of course.
So will that slow down the auto market? Maybe.
Yeah. I was reading last week about how 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I think it's actually more like 64 or 65%. And the rest are trying to come up with creative ways that they can save their money. And those are the folks that are pretty fortunate to be able to be in a position where they have options and opportunities with their income where they can save some. And they're smart as hell for doing that instead of always spending what it is that you make, even if you're making more. The money that you're saving in gas because you're working from home, you should be, if self-discipline is the key here. If you can budget in a way where you can say, all right, I'm saving $50 a week because I'm working from home 3 days a week. If I can take that and put that somewhere where I don't see it, smell it, touch it,
yep,
it's huge.
Yeah, people are remote working has opened up a new opportunity for people to save money and for people to make money.
Right.
While you were saying that, I had to laugh a little bit. Heather says, "No, it looks like a house cost. We can now tie the housing exchange rate, the market rate, to Denali's."
Yeah, she's right. She's right.
Because what does a new Denali cost? Like 120 grand or like 100 grand or something?
No idea.
I don't know. It's
but and we talk about May being Mental Health Awareness Month. There are so many folks that, the ones you talk about self-discipline. We've saved this money. We've got this money, okay, for the 40% of America that is not living paycheck to paycheck. They put it aside. But with how suppressed we are and what's happened to our general mental health, it's very tempting and very easy to touch that money that we've been putting aside because we've been saving in gas, because we're working from home or whatever, and say, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to a new car. I'm going to go to Disney for 2 weeks. I'm going to book a cruise. I'm going to go to the Caribbean for 2 weeks or whatever.
In a lot of cases, though, because of how fuel prices, how food costs, how everything else is getting more expensive, a lot of people, in theory, people are able to save money more because they're not driving to work. They're not getting lunch out on their lunch breaks.
Sure.
Those savings are being used to just put food on the table, keep your lights on, pay your rent. And so in theory, it'd be great if there's a direct savings correlation between that. But with inflation happening right now, a lot of those are being, a lot of those savings are just going right back into buying cereal, buying milk, buying eggs.
That's the majority of what's happening.
Yep.
Talking about small businesses, and Dwayne just wrote something here. The great Governor Douglas once said, "The key to Vermont's economic recovery will be small businesses." What do you think about that?
It's true. Go up and down Main Street here. You look at all the businesses that are right here on Main Street. Who has the most amount of, or who has the biggest number of employees? Maybe one of the restaurants, because you need a lot of cooks, you need a lot of servers, you need a lot of hosts. Maybe Nelson's.
Yeah. But that's it.
Probably nobody right here on our Main Street has more than 30 employees.
Sure.
Even Rock of Ages is considered a small business. Per the Small Business Administration, they have about 250 employees, give or take, up there.
Okay.
If you go up to the Wilson Industrial Park, there are, I think, a little over 300 employees up in the park total between all employers.
Vermont Creamery.
Vermont Food Bank, Adams Granite. Maple Corner Woodworks, who's up there now, New England Excess Exchange. There's a lot of small businesses that are up there, and these are companies that employ your neighbors, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, people in your Rotary Club, people, parents of children that play with your kid, play Little League on your son's Little League team.
Sure.
The biggest employer around here certainly is going to be Central Vermont Medical Center, so that would be one of the few that are in this immediate area that wouldn't be considered like a small business, if you will. But it's absolutely correct. You've got local ownership. These companies like Nelson's, like the Quarry, like Adams Granite, or even Rock of Ages.
Lifeblood. Lifeblood.
Absolute lifeblood of our local economy, and the ones that are going to be like sponsoring your Little League teams, donating to your fundraisers, and or in a lot of cases are there to help you out.
Yeah. We're so desperate for them. We need them.
Yep. And luckily, a lot of them made it we're not out of the woods on COVID yet, but luckily a lot of them made it out onto the other side. There is some swift government action, but one thing that you saw here in Barre, we've said it before and I'll say it again, Barre being an industrial community, there's always been a need for products. So there's always been a need for granite to be harnessed from out of the ground. There's always been a need for the fine manufactured goods. Company like Arcana making their fiberglass fabricated products.
Yeah, you've spoken to them quite a bit. They're booming.
Yeah, they're the company that made if you remember the Barre Art Splash here last year, if you remember the cats, the dogs, the race cars, they're the company that made that.
The 3D printing type stuff? No,
think of it more as like, I'm going to butcher this and I apologize in advance, but think of it like sculpture manufacturing. Yeah. So they make the sculptures and like they do the painting and all of that, and then Rotary, Carl Rinker ended up working with some of our granite companies, I believe, to get the bases, and then they put them out on Main Street last year and brought a lot of vibrancy to the community. Yeah. But Arcana is the company that ended up making the fiberglass or the sculptures.
Yeah, amazing.
Yep, but it really goes to show that that's a company that is 600 yards away from here, maybe. Not that, just a stone's throw away. It's always interesting because there's such a perception that manufacturing is dead. Everything's made overseas. We don't make anything here anymore. What's often lost in this conversation are the smaller manufacturers, the ones that, the smaller fabricators, the smaller manufacturers that have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 employees. There are so many little sheds around here in Barre alone. Wilson Woodworks, Calvin Wilson, just over across the street, making furniture and stuff. Wood Doodles, Jed.
Yeah.
They make some like charcuterie boards and some of the other. So those are the products that people often think of when they think of kind of domestic manufacturing, everything coming from overseas. But a lot of times it's somebody with a hobby. It's somebody with a passion that was able to make a little bit of money out of it, and maybe start in their garage or start in their basement, and they went to their garage, and then they ended up subletting and renting a space, renting a corner of a larger commercial space. So those companies are really the backbone of our local economy.
Sure are. And, we try to get the hashtags up there as much as we can. Vermont made, Vermont homemade, made in Vermont. I mean, there's so many. And we're proud of it. We're damn proud of it here in Vermont. No doubt about it. What else are we talking about today?
Let's see. So
I'm looking at my notes. You're looking at yours.
Yeah. So we are still waiting to hear regarding some of our earmark funding applications that were submitted. We understand that now Mr. Sanders, Mr. Welch, and Mr. Leahy have finalized their selections for what projects they're going to send off to Congress. And we understand Friday was the deadline for congressional offices to send their requests to the appropriate subcommittees. So, we just have to hope that all the numbers line up. Basically, our projects now, if they are selected by our congressional offices, now they're kind of in the pinball machine.
How much money are we talking about here?
Well, it depends on the project. Anywhere from $1 million to up to $6 million for various things. We've talked about like the wastewater stuff, the drinking water stuff, the auditorium. So it really varies. But
you're watching your email like a damn hawk,
and trying to track the legislation just to see where it's at.
Yeah.
So assuming that some of our projects got picked, they're now going to go into like the subcommittee that oversees USDA funding, for instance. The subcommittee that oversees like Department of Energy and Department of Interior funding. That's the same process that happened last year when our North Main Street pump station that we got funded, that we helped get funded. That's the same process that happened last year. So Bernie Sanders' office took our earmark request, sent it off to Environment and Department of Interior subcommittees in the Senate, and it ended up going through the maze and came out on the other side. And we ended up getting that award. So hopefully we will have more good news to announce as the coming months.
That was going to be my next question, what the timeline might possibly be on that.
Well, it is a literal act of Congress.
Yeah.
I know we occasionally say that jokingly and take an act of Congress to do something. Well, this is quite literally an act of Congress. This is something that will be included in the 2023, the fiscal year 2023 federal budget.
Okay.
And one question that I get asked when talking about these earmarks is, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to pay for this? Well, it's my understanding that congressionally directed spending can only account for, I think, 1% of the federal budget.
Okay.
So it's a rather small number compared to all the other things that the federal government does.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about? Are there any updates about locally what's happening here at the Barre Civic Center with regard to this?
Well, same process.
Yeah, we're just waiting.
Yeah, we don't know yet which projects through which offices that we submitted.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly which ones got forwarded to committees.
Okay.
We're hoping to find out. We're trying to find out, but at this point, we don't know which ones were. So we're hoping. We ended up submitting the auditorium project to two of our elected officials, Peter Welch and Bernie Sanders, and the water sewer projects that we submitted were sent to Leahy, Sanders, and Welch.
Okay.
So we're hoping for that probability will help us in the end if they see a bunch of requests coming in from Barre.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the idea is, okay, well, I guess we have to fund one of them if they went through all this work to put in all. But Barre Area Development, we ended up submitting over $22 million worth of funding requests for the city of Barre, which
22 mil.
22 million, which are for city-owned assets, city-owned projects. However, they are projects that help the broader community. So one of them is redoing the water mains up on Route 302 coming from the Orange Reservoir. That's the primary piece of infrastructure that delivers drinking water for Barre City and Barre Town residents that are hooked up on public water systems. Now, there are other like water districts kind of throughout, like Graniteville up in Barre Town, but that's the main one that delivers drinking water to Barre Town and Barre City residents and businesses and visitors and everyone else in between. So
I think it was Lucas.
So it's a city asset, very much like Barre Town pays the city of Barre to use the wastewater treatment plant here, essentially. One of the projects we submitted for were to make improvements to the wastewater treatment plant here, but that will ultimately help some Barre Town residents, especially those up on Richardson Road.
I think it was Lucas that was telling me that the pipes are like 100 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to find when you turn on the tap in this part of the country, or if you go and take a shower and you're on a public water system, it's not unreasonable. There's a chance that your water may be going through 125-year-old water lines. Things that were built in the Taft administration.
God. It's amazing.
Yep. And these systems are expensive.
Yeah. I wonder how long the new ones will last. You and I
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully some of the water lines and things that I've replaced over the years will get replaced again in my lifetime. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But
what about we were talking about small businesses a little while ago. And I think one of the things that you and I are going to do going forward is give a little bit more spotlight to business opportunities here in the Granite City and in Barre Town, because things are very fluid right now. There's a lot that's happening in the news. There are funding opportunities, as you've said. There are grants that are available. There are people that are turning the wheels in their minds more than they ever have before, coming up with with ideas. Hey, that was way out of reach 5-10 years ago, but now I might be able to inquire a little bit about that. I might be able to take the first step and explore whether or not this is really feasible to pull off this idea for this new business. That's the way we're kind of thinking now.
Yeah, people, there is data to support the claim that there are more businesses that are starting, more micro businesses, more entrepreneurs that are taking that leap kind of during the COVID years. I think people are, a lot of people got furloughed during the early days of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And they're sitting at home and they had a lot of time to think about, kind of reevaluate their relationship with the workforce, with their employers. And I think a lot of people decided that they want to control their own destiny.
Yeah.
They know that
that's it.
With COVID spiking here and there, having to go home, maybe not have to go home, people are realizing...
I'm an example of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. People have realized that there could be just as much of a risk in going to work and working a 9 to 5.
Right.
So a lot of people are thinking, you know what, I'm just going to start my own business. Why not? I'm going to try to take my side hustle, which a lot of people do have them.
Yes, of course they do.
I'm going to try to take my side hustle out to a storefront. And we're getting a lot of calls from people that are looking to do that. We were approached, you and I were approached by one gal that that's a viewer of the show, who may be watching right now. We were approached by somebody just the other day. We're leaving Subway. And she was talking about her aspirations to open a small business. And we had Margaret Ferguson on here recently from Capstone Community Action. She runs their micro business development program.
She's the small business queen of this city. Yeah,
so she's been really helpful to us and to micro businesses around here. One example is Little Buddy Beauty Supply up on Prospect Street, whom the partnership has helped, Barre Area Development has helped, and Capstone has helped. And Ismina Francois has been able to grow her business and really take her idea and really grow it. But that's the environment that we try to create here in Barre. I linked in the chat just a few minutes ago the Embrace Grant Program. I'm going to keep talking about this until there's no longer money available in the program.
And you're told not to talk about it.
So with this program, it's a $5,000 grant for micro businesses. A few other restrictions apply. We've been talking about this for at least 6 months now, but repetition is learning.
Sure.
And so it's a $5,000 grant for micro businesses with fewer than 5 employees that want to, let's say, hire another company, buy some equipment, do something like that. We're hearing more and more about local businesses that have been getting these grants and what they've been able to do with them.
Sure.
So it's exciting to see. It's exciting to see good government policy in action to bring positive change to a community. If we're talking about like a water system or even a nonprofit with a big program, $5,000 isn't really going to do a whole ton.
Right.
But if you are running a restaurant and you need $5,000, you could set up an online ordering system. You could whole number. You could buy a new dishwasher.
Right. Quickly.
Something. Yeah. You could. I'm sure with $5,000 you could completely change your business with $5,000. It really is a huge kind of shot in the arm, really huge infusion of cash that can make the world for a small business. So we try to keep promoting this and pushing it out just in the hopes that somebody out there is listening today. I know I'm a broken record. I say this week after week after week after week about this, but that's why we do it, though. That's why we come on the show.
And people are hearing it, and they're because we're audio and video, they're recognizing you, and now you're turning into a damn rock star, Cody Morrison.
Well, if one person hears us today talking about this Embrace Grant Program, then if one person listening today is motivated to apply for that and they get it, then we've done our job.
So what's the first step that someone should make? Should they...
So for the Embrace Grant Program, click on the link in the comments section. It'll give you a pretty good overview of what you're going to need. So this program can help existing businesses, and it can help startups.
That are for-profit.
That are for-profit, correct. There was another program, the Community Navigator Pilot Program, that has been fully subscribed, and that's done for now. But nonprofits were eligible for that. But same idea, $5,000.
Yeah.
But this is for for-profit businesses. So if you are like an independent contractor and you want to, let's say, hire an accountant, hire a CPA, or hire an accountant, hire a lawyer, and you want to actually go through the paperwork of forming your business with the Secretary of State, this is something that could help you with that. This could help you with the startup costs.
Sure. Sure.
But the first step is go check out that website, and that'll tell you like the basic qualifications. It's a pretty easy application process.
Okay.
If you're going to be a micro business, you're probably going to be qualifying based off of your tax returns. You might not have a whole ton of financial records for your business yet, but have your tax returns, whether your personal ones or your business tax returns. They're going to ask you some questions about like qualifying. You have to meet certain household income thresholds to qualify for it. So the number that you will qualify that will qualify you will be your tax returns. That's how much you made, your household made.
Right.
So go and check that out. We're happy to answer any questions as well. And Capstone Community Action, Margaret Ferguson, has had a huge involvement with the program. And this is right up her alley. She helps micro businesses anyway.
That's probably the number one thing that I love most about you is that if you don't have an answer, you know exactly who will. And that's probably one of the biggest feathers in your cap, brother.
And there's a lot of answers I don't know. So we try to utilize a network of local partners, local institutions.
Right.
But what this program does, it helps you kind of build your capacity, helps take your business to that next level, so that you can make it a little more sustainable. Maybe.
Yeah.
You can go and hire Mike Landon over at Eternity Web.
Right.
If you want to build your website, whatever it may be. But go and check that website out. One of the other restrictions is that you cannot have your micro business cannot have received any of the other COVID relief programs.
That's right.
So the Economic Bridge Program, the state grant last year, the Paycheck Protection Program. If you got a PPP loan, you don't qualify.
Right.
The Economic Injury Disaster, the EIDL program, through the Small Business Administration, can't qualify if you got one of those either.
Okay.
So if you check all of those boxes and you still haven't, at the end of the day, if you meet the income requirements, if you didn't get any of the other COVID programs, you have fewer than 5 employees, doesn't matter if you're a startup or an existing micro business.
Right.
Doesn't even matter. Then you would qualify. You may be able to get those funds.
Yeah.
And you have to know what you're going to spend the money on.
Yes, you do. You have to have a clear list of exactly what you need.
Correct. So let's just use you as an example. You need to buy $5,000 worth of microphones. I don't know how much microphones cost, but let's just, for sake of argument, let's just say you have to buy $5,000 worth of microphones. It'd be good to get a cost estimate to know how much those would cost, because when you try to go get the grant money back, you're going to submit invoices to them.
Sure.
And they're going to direct deposit. Yeah, they're going to direct deposit you money. So those are a few of the main factors for the program.
Sure. Barre Area Development, you guys, I know you're a busy guy. I've seen you at work. I've seen you in your office. I don't know what the hell we would do here in Barre without you, frankly. Tell me about what you have going on today.
See, so tonight, if anyone is interested in the housing situation, the Barre Housing Task Force is meeting this evening. And we're going to give updates on what the subcommittees have been up to. David Sickle, who is a guru of municipal government and is involved in a handful of committees and boards around here. He's on the Barre City Planning Commission. He's the chair, for reference. He runs that committee as well, or that task force. So that's what's going on tonight. We've got a board meeting today over the Aldrich Public Library. So if you're not doing anything at noon, pop on by. Spend enough time with you, JD. I guess I want to spend more with you for some reason. Yeah, try to not make it a habit outside of 9 and 10 on Mondays, but
I wish we could get David Sickle on the air or someone from the Barre Housing Task Force, Brooke Pouliot, did join us.
I mean, I'm on the task force.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
You're
One
true.
thing that we're doing right now, actually, and I keep forgetting to mention it on air, we are actually we're about to finalize a partnership with an organization called Vermont Works for Women. They're an organization out of, I think, Winooski. And what this would do, this would bring a DIY home building carpentry skills class, like a fix-it-yourself class. And this is a pilot program that they would be facilitating and bringing to the Career Center potentially in September. We're still finalizing the details, but it's looking like that's how it's going to happen right now. But essentially what this class would do is it would teach up to 80 area women basic carpentry, electrical, plumbing, just basic DIY, fix-it-yourself skills. So if you want to take out that ugly linoleum in your kitchen and you want to put in some nice hardwood, it would teach you how to do something like that, or it would teach you how to fix a leaky faucet.
Wow.
And so that would happen in a 4-part series, probably in September, over at the Career Center. And the idea of it is to improve the local housing stock, so that you don't have to hire a contractor for everything.
All right.
And a lot of these contractors are on bigger projects. They're doing, their time is pulled in 100 different directions.
Yes.
But what this would do is it would train area women, kind of build the skills in the Barre community for these basic carpentry.
Knowledge is power, brother.
Oh, absolutely.
My God.
But that's something through the Barre Housing Task Force and the Barre Area Development is leading potential partnership with them. And then we'd be looking at bringing kind of a bigger program for more like carpentry, building trades related skills called the Trailblazers program. It's currently being run down in Rutland right now. And we may be it's looking like we might be able to bring that course up here for summer 2023, potentially spring or summer 2023. But a few things in the works regarding kind of skills training, workforce development in relation to the housing issue. So we're hoping to get. Last week we talked about in a meeting that I had with Vermont Works for Women. We talked about potentially having one of their representatives come over and join us one Monday morning to talk about more about what they do. But it's a great organization.
Tell them about our microphones, my man. Get them over here. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that we do that. And I'll tell you, once again, there are so many in this city, in government and beyond, who are so grateful for what you do and what you have brought to Barre in your position as executive director of the Barre Area Development.
Yep.
You're involved with everything, and it's critical. I mean, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot of stuff happening. Yeah,
and we couldn't do it without willing and able partners here in the community.
That's
the Barre Partnership is our closest partner organization outside of the city and the town of Barre, of which we receive our funding from. But the partnership, and we have a 15-member board of directors at BADC that are quick to pick up the phone and to help out, to contribute.
Got to get over and see Tracy.
Yep, and we also have a lot of rare proactive business partners, me being one of them.
Yeah.
We're able to realize our mission of our organization through using partners like Air It Out, the Times Argus, and other companies that we partner with. So it's a big team effort.
It's one thing if you're doing great things, but if the community doesn't know about it, then that's a disconnect.
Absolutely.
So we love being part of it, man. We got some exciting things coming up. We always have plenty to talk about on Monday mornings. Plenty.
Yep.
Plenty.
Great way to kick off the week. But
it is.
But with that, we'll let everyone get back to their work, finish their coffee.
Yeah.
Finish answering those emails from the weekend. We appreciate everyone for tuning in today. This is why we do it. It's great. We're very humbled by the fact that people tune in to listen to us. So, we thank everyone for their support, and we're looking forward to talking with you all again next week.
And let's be honest, we're not the worst looking guys out there. I mean, people watch us. We're good looking dudes, right?
Yeah, I could buy.
Of course. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming in.
All right, thanks.